And it was really helpful for me to see the whole journey that we had so far together.
Thank you for sharing that. And it was cool to hear your comments about it too.
Yes.
What came for you about it?
Is this the right place and time for that?
Sure. I think Nova will just come in when he comes in and we'll just start and go ahead.
Okay. I deeply, deeply appreciate everything that you already unfolded in yourselves. You, Elijah, you, Jorge, and Noah as well. And I still feel my heart that, and I would like to share that what you're doing, what you're working on internally and externally is very, very important. And it will bring a lot of ease and healing into the world. And you were talking about the common reference point at the end of the last session. And I feel that for me, the most clearest common reference point is a sort of trauma-informed leadership, which is, what I mean by that is the leadership with ourselves internally and the leadership in the professional spaces. And what you just did when the three of us were together in the last session was a beautiful journey of a sacred transparency and a sacred shadow work. So you were all able to hold the space for each other, and this has a tremendous value. So I'm deeply, deeply thankful for your work, and that all of you were able to make that far in your life. And I'm so thankful that you never gave up and you're still searching for the meaning and for the ground, and finding resources to bring down all those purposes, what we are coming into this planet. So I'm deeply honoring every one of you.
Thank you, Hajnal. Thank you for those words of reflection. I want to say something.
Yeah, sure.
Well, it's been since last week, since the meeting last week, it's been this form of like getting this reflection and about like kind of like what's happening here in this space, and the value of what's coming together here in this space, and it's been percolating throughout the week, and this been this the communication tools and card sets and the kind of like the application of it, how it applies, and kind of there was this post that Elijah made this week about Valentine's Day. There was some famous guy that's usually a tough guy, and he's dressed up in this Cupid costume, and he has this bow and arrow. With the arrow has a heart at the end, and then he's saying something like, "I will shoot at the center of your heart," and then he cuts off, and then there's this other part that he says, "No matter where you hide, no matter how far you run, love will find you." And there's these like funny things that cracked me up, and there was this the cards that Elijah put next to it was connection, intimacy, and love. And it's like there was like this like speaking like these cards, like they made something alive in me that was very awesome experience. I was like, wow, like this is like in seeing those things connected, like there was this big resonance in my being about the value that this video was speaking towards. And I think it was some like a new experience for me in, I think, and it was with these specific cards, the configuration of those cards, it activated something inside of me that was very cool. And getting to see how this is connected with the healing spaces, the spaces of healing, the spaces of where we get to bring our authenticity and our last week we talked about like the not looking good, or the learning team, the difference between the learning team and the looking good team, and the connection between these two, and how, yeah, like how healing, like healing is part of like a sustainable team, a team that has healing in it is sustainable. It makes it sustainable and awesome to participate in. That's what I wanted to share. Thanks for the reflection too, and for this space, Elijah, for creating this space.
Well, I think it's more Nova that really has created that space or put the intention out. And, you know, I'm just thankful that you guys are here. And it's very interesting, you know, to sort of, let's say, have a team that, let's say, is going to help you bring your work into the world. And it brings up a lot of ideas of what you think you need help with, or I need help with, right? Because there's a lot of things I need help with. But it's sort of like I think the beauty of the mastermind is that you have to surrender to the group space and the other people. And that is not, you know, a place where I have a lot of trust. I think, you know, the group space for me, you know, is the place of the least trust. I find I disappear in groups, and I don't show up generally in groups. I sort of observe, or I sit in the background, let's say, and much worse in a face-to-face situation. I find I drift, and I really have a hard time participating unless it is focused with intention like this. And it's kind of like that, like I guess the more authenticity and the more caring that each person brings, then the more, I think, connection I feel, or group connection I feel. And, you know, just those are wonderful words that you opened up with, Hajnal. And it's, you know, just to hear those words, just that is enough, you know, just that is a huge thing to feel encouragement, or to feel like someone listened and listened enough, cared enough to listen, and then listen to what actually occurred. Because I think what occurred was spurred by you in a way, and then the three of us went into it. And because I think, Jorge, that you're really exploring a more authentic, more honest, deeper place, that you brought me in, you took me out of my normal pattern of disassociation, and brought me into experience, okay, this is what it's like to be with people who are willing to face the demons, or willing to sit in the fire. And I think that until you have everybody who's willing to sit into the fire, you know, the group's going to be pretty shallow, and all those things I think that I may need it doesn't even matter. You know, I think that humans, we need teams that care about one another and are all willing to take responsibility for our impact on the group. And like I miss Nova. I already feel, you know, with a team, you want everyone on the team there, right? Because you start to get attached. So that's all I'll say for now.
Thank you.
Well, there is this distinction that's coming right now about something that you share, Elijah, and it's about the underworld and this journey into the underworld and this pattern that we have in the underworld, and the distinction that I've been learning is that if you don't own the underworld, if you don't own your underworld, if you don't take responsible ownership of it, that you have an underworld that is that that is there, is not going anywhere, is part of a map that there is the three worlds map, and we exist in those three worlds at the same time. We exist in an upper world, in the middle world, and in the underworld, and kind of like the more awareness you gain about the underworld, about what's happening in there, and the more ownership you can take from it, the more you can actually like not be owned by it, like in a way, like if you don't own it, like it's gonna start shooting up sideways, and it's gonna start owning your life and taking over your life in ways that are very unexpected, and it's very ordinary, like it's, people call it fate or destiny or resentment. And yeah, these are like this, it's awesome. It's a space where we can acknowledge and work with this, and like have this distinction that we all have an underworld, and that we're not like that we can like bring it into the space in a way to create more intimacy and to create more connection, to create healing, to create clearing of the space for moving forward, for the next step of evolution. Then it's an amazing like it's like fertilizer. It's like the soil, and this is like fertilizer is the shit that you can bring into the space for things to grow and for more intimacy to happen in a team and a space. Hey, welcome, Noah.
Hello. Sorry, everyone, I'm late. Yeah, just picked up the girls from school and didn't really get to sit down until just now to do this.
You want to check in?
Sure. Okay, yes. Hello, my name is Nova. I am checking in, feeling my body is feeling a little bit hot and tingly. Not really tingly. Like my energy feels tingly. My body feels hot. It's quite hot here. My mind feels busy, and my heart feels, yeah, pretty light and happy, I guess, actually. Yeah, there was a hurricane here a few days ago, or I guess over the last week, there was a hurricane coming through, and I don't live on the ocean, like right next to it, but the whole city does. So we definitely had a lot of heavy winds in our area for a while, for a few days. And yeah, it's definitely impacted other people in this country a lot worse. But all in all, I think it was relatively mild for a hurricane, you know. Anyway, that was kind of exciting, I guess. Never been that close to a hurricane before. Probably about 1,000 kilometers away, but it felt close. And yeah, I start school in a few days. So I don't know if I checked in with that already. I've been taking school online for the past 2 years because of COVID and because there was an opportunity to do that. And it was just easier as well because I can work from home and just do my school from home and pick up the kids and just, zip out the door for a few minutes, grab the kids when I need to. And but now I'm apparently not allowed to do that. There was some sort of rule. International students have to take courses face to face, and they were just being lenient because of the COVID situation. So suddenly I found that out, and now I have to drive for an hour and a half each way to get to school. Yeah, and I mean it is what it is. But I'm really hoping they're going to give me an allowance for 2 of the days, because 2 of the days I only have a 2-hour course in the middle of the day. And it takes me over an hour to get there, over an hour to get back. So that's just crazy. So I'm hoping they're going to let me do that one remotely, and take the other ones in person. So I'm a little bit, that's probably why my energy is a little bit tingly. I've been waiting all day for an email and still haven't got one. And got about an hour left. Probably doesn't look like I'm going to get one. I start school like on Tuesday for me. So it just feels like, I'm optimistic about it, but at the same time, it feels a little heavy. Yeah, because that just wrecks my whole week, basically. I have to rearrange my whole life to do that, in the small ways. But anyway, yeah, sorry about the super long check-in. That's kind of what's up for me, and super happy to see all of you again. And yeah, I will watch the recording for the parts I missed, but hopefully it hasn't. I don't think you've been on here too long, right?
Mm-hmm.
And sorry, my school is calling me right now. I'll be right back.
I have something I want to say. Elijah, were you going to say something?
No, go ahead.
I want to negotiate with this team the possibility of having a space holder, like a defined space holder for every meeting. Like every time we meet, like we know who's going to be holding the space. And in a way, we all hold the space because we're here like showing up responsibly. But like to have that defined like a space holder, and also we get to practice space holding for the meeting and keeping track of time, bringing the team together, and it will be an awesome practice for that. And I guess now I will. Well, now Noah's not here, so I'm gonna wait for him. Are you guys? How does that sound for you guys?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
Okay.
Maybe until Noah comes back, I wanted to hear about the opportunity that you spoke about, Hajnal, about the support for your program. That sounded pretty exciting.
Yes, thank you. Speaking with someone in Hungarian in a foreign country is already a gift, because English is not my first language. So the energy and all these things, what I'm trying to verbalize, what I'm trying to articulate, it's not easy for me to do in English. It's much easier for me to do that in my original language. So that was the first benefit beside everything else. I had a very intense evening after the meeting. I cried for about an hour. I released a lot of tension from my body through that. And I have to admit, my boyfriend is really able to hold the space for me. He was like, okay, just let it out. He doesn't want to save me. He doesn't want to interrupt. He was totally aware that it just need to go. It just need to leave. Yes, go ahead.
What was the crying? Was it sadness, joy, and what was it about? What would you say was about?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I was able to respond, to reflect on the energy, what I was experiencing, and it was filled with helplessness. It was filled with sadness that I was constantly asking myself, why is this happening now? Why it weren't able to happen earlier with me? What is this unfulfilled space in my whole journey, which is continuously holding me back? I can see a lot of people around me succeeding, and it gives them a lot of enjoyment. It gives them a lot of groundedness. And I feel that I'm constantly, like, we have this expression in Hungarian that if you are peeing towards the wind, the whole pee will covers you. And that's what I feel. That's what I feel continuously in my life. I'm going towards some crazy storm, and it's so hard to stay on the ground. And I was listening. So in the meeting, there was this business coach who I'm working with. He's trying to support me in his best way, but it's so hard for me to accept the way he's working, because it's so binary. It's so it feels like that he's representing something from the outer world that I'm trying to go against. I'm trying to wake up a lot of people. I'm feeling that I'm trying to wake up him as well in so many ways. And most probably subconsciously, this is why he's gravitating towards me and he's trying to help me, because there's something what he might able to learn from that, of
Yes.
who am I. So it's
Yeah,
a very intense energy exchange, but he's still playing the role of the authority and the person who knows how to navigate in the business setup.
yeah,
So it's really hard for me to accept that, and my crying was filled with that pain, that suffering.
yeah. And I wonder what that binary thing is. Like, it sounds like you're at the doorway. I would love to know, like, if you can share a bit about that. That you're saying that it's hard to work with him because there is these two things that he's working with, and he's either right or this one, and that he represents something that you're trying to wake up from. Could you say what those two things are, or like what is the edge that you're facing?
The space, the pure space of the mind, the space of the yes or no, and there's no clear presence of compassion and clear presence of the will, which is trying to look behind the surface. But it's a very intense shadow work for myself as well, because I need to learn these things. If I want to be on the play field of these people who already have access to certain benefits, what I'm looking for as well, I need to be able to speak their language. I need to be able to play the rules, play by the rules of this world. But at the same time, we were sitting in a coffee shop in a beautiful mall. You know, it's Hong Kong. Everything is about malls and fashion and beauty. And we were eating a cake which is made out of cow milk and you know, all those things. What we know that it's not beneficial for our planet to overconsume. And we were started to talk about these things, and then suddenly the way I was trying to explain my background as a teacher, the way I was trying to explain how I see the personal development is deeply connected with the climate change issue, because everything is all about the shadow. Suddenly, this young woman from the consulate, she was switched her presence, and she told us that, oh yes, in 2 years I want to get out of this game and I want to do something completely different. And my business coach was laughingly asked her that, oh, you want to do gardening instead? And she was like, yeah, I want to do gardening. I want to connect myself with nature. So there is this huge gap between, you know, the business setup, that space of the organization, that space of the space of success, and the space of real values, real internal spaces of connection with yourself, with the nature, with the earth itself.
Yeah, that resonates. Yeah, and it's one of the edges that I'm working, that I'm in as well. Like going into this territory of money and success and clients and also like while keeping my values, my integrity and my connection to Gaia, my connection to the earth, my grounding and my purpose, that I'm like fully stepping into my purpose. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That seems like to me like a jewel, Hajnal. It's like a big goal that you're bringing into this space. And thank you for sharing that. You're muted.
There's something I'd like to share that's been big in the last week, and that's something around digital ID. I don't know if you guys have explored it or hearing about it, but it just seems that there's so much happening right now, right? There's this, and I'm tracking it very strongly on TikTok, and it came through the way they're going to get everyone into a digital ID is AI is going to become so prevalent that they won't be able to tell AI from humans. And so because of that, there's going to be a need or a push, or like everyone's going to cry out for a digital ID to make sure that they can be seen as themselves. And then I went to the WEF website, and they have, it's funny because it's like the Synergy Wheel almost. It has 10 spots, and they have like the banking, they have the food, they have transportation, they have the medical, they have all the databases that would be linked to your digital ID. So in a sense, if I wanted, let's say maybe to start a website, I might have to have my digital ID access the site to start a website. So it's basically complete tracking, complete control. And then I don't know if you saw that train wreck in Ohio, but they had a film in Netflix a year ago called White Noise that was filmed in East Palestine, where the train wreck happened. So there's a film about it. The train wreck happened, and then right today, they were giving out medical digital IDs. They were giving out wristbands so they could track who someone was and what their medical records were in this medical emergency. And again, it was the same here. Here's a digital ID. Here's a way. And I'm bringing this up because at the same time on the weekend, I started working on the Planetary Guardians website. I know that Jorge and a few others every once in a while have kind of started, but I went into Wix, a new website, a website builder I hadn't used before. And I really started diving into creating the website for Planetary Guardians. And it's quite different from Weebly. And I got really into it. All of a sudden, I'm seeing how the models fit this, and how this fits this, and how this fits this. And then I switched it to Saskatchewan from the planetary level. And all of a sudden, I was seeing that all of the language models that I have are basically infrastructure for websites. Like that's the layer that I think I'm coming in at. And I think, software is different layers, right? At different levels. And this was sort of like I started getting very enthused, because I think for me in the work that Planetary Guardians is the methodology. Like there's the New Paradigm Toolkit, which are the tools, the Inflow Matrix, which is the operating system. But the main thing is they are working for Planetary Guardians to do Planetary Guardians. And within it, I was seeing how all of us can get work. It's the platform for all of us to get work. And I think deep down, that's pretty much what everyone needs or wants, is they want a place to really bring their gifts into the world. And that's the idea behind this, is that you design your ideal job. You are going to, there's a place for you here. And maybe next week I might be ready to show you, but it's like this, right? What's happening right now is this convergence, right? There's this convergence by the deep state, or whoever you want to call it, to really bring in this highly controlled software system based upon the central bank digital currency and based upon digital IDs. And then I think what we're doing is essentially an alternative system that will have its own digital ID, but we control the data. They can't see our data. And I think that's one of the big things that's going to happen, is there's going to be some sort of identification mechanism that is either going to be sort of by the government or by the people. And I think something like Planetary Guardians is going to, like, how do you create an organization that's large enough to protect ourselves, I believe, from what's occurring right now. And I think that is happening right now, like on the planet. Like during this year, this is going to happen. They're going to bring in the central bank digital currencies. They're going to try to pop in the digital IDs. And this is the backdrop to us. Like the idea is create a new system with the language structures that have been coming through me. So I just wanted to kind of give that as a background context of maybe coming from the community space. And I think maybe each of us, again, might be coming from a different space. And sometimes maybe we might want to speak about the space we're coming from, because that community space, is kind of like all these 5 spaces are there all the time. And it's the main model. And sometimes we're in our personal space, we're in our shadow, we're in a place which interferes with the other spaces, or we just have a natural shadow in that group space. And the more we acknowledge it, or the more we understand it and use it through our communication, I think, and that's, to me, a demonstration of the tools. That's the idea is that we do use these language distinctions to really help us to clarify our own lives and how we communicate with others.
I hear you speaking about the speaking from where we're coming from to address these things that are in this space. These things that we might be affected by. Is that what you're talking about? To talk about for example, the digital ID?
Well, yeah, I guess that, and like, I find that let's say we have a big global problem, and someone might respond and say, well, that doesn't affect me. I'm going to do my own thing or something. And that's because they're in the personal space. They're looking from the point of view of the personal space. So I just think that what I've seen with patterns is that when you use this map to start to talk about the patterns, it's creating that central reference point of language for us to understand, okay, like if I'm in my shadow, in the personal space, in the group space, that's where I sort of disassociate and don't want to participate, let's say, in the group space. And I mean, it's up to you whether you want to do that or not. But I mean, I hear a lot of things through this model, to try to understand things a lot.
And this is where, so may I say something?
Yeah.
Well, I was a Waldorf teacher for a while, and in the Waldorf communities, in the teacher communities, we were trying to work through a democratic setup, a round table where everyone considered to be equal in the space, but because every one of us in our own level were stuck in some ways in our personal space, and we weren't really able to arrive to the group space equally, there were always someone who took over the ownership on the group. And the others unconsciously just gave the permission to that person to do that. And
Yeah.
that's actually the shadow of the group level, which is a recurring problem issue. And this is why we are here at this moment in our existence. Because people always giving away their ownership to someone. And I'm deeply driven to understand the reason behind that.
Yeah, I wanna say something, that this is something that we talked about a lot in our community of practice, and it's this yeah, like unconsciously giving away your power to the person that's for some reason decides to take authority. And this is like very connected with what you started at the beginning of our connection point of this leadership, like trauma informed leadership, but more specific about leadership. And I guess that the trauma informed will be the awareness that there is going to be people, when you take leadership and when you're going first, when you're deciding to like take a stand for what you want, that there is going to be people that are going to give you away their power. They're gonna, and we work with this like, is so much in the space where we work in, that is like we're constantly calling each other like, you're giving your power away to this person, or like, fuck you, like I don't want your shit, I don't want your power, you take responsibility for that. Like, and there is like such a constant like checking about that. And yeah, like the this is why like we start our meetings, our spaces, by going into like the first position, which is like this process of centering your energy, then grounding, and then you creating your bubble of space. And from this space, like people are more in their like in their center. You get to experience what your center, being in your center, feels like. And when you give when you give your center to another person, is when you give your authority to another person. So we're in our team, we're like constantly like working with this, and it's very awesome because it creates this space of experimenters. Like nobody's like an authority or anything. Like even the space holder is there, and they're holding the space, but they're not like a higher authority. And there was another piece to this, and I just can't remember right now. Yeah.
If I can jump in.
No.
I mean, I think what you're talking about is really interesting to me. I think that this whole phenomenon is part of the reason the world's all messed up. I think there's, you know, if you're familiar with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, I think that's a big piece of it, and I think that's it's sort of a good way to look at, I think, why that happens.
Could you open that a little bit? What is a Maslow's?
If you could let me share my screen, I have a diagram. That's,
Uh,
I think,
go
yeah,
ahead.
and I mean, it's just one viewpoint by a psychologist or psychiatrist. I can't remember what he was. But you see here, the whole concept behind this is the fact that, or what he described as a fact, is that until a person is able to fulfill their, you know, physiological needs at the bottom of this pyramid, they can't really think properly or process things on the next level, and so on. So if people are, you know, they don't have enough water, they don't have enough food, that's their priority, right? That becomes all their entire life, is to get food until they are able to eat and not starving anymore. That's the priority, and it goes up from there. You know, the point of understanding this, I think, is that people cannot take on a worldview or really transcend above their personal needs or their personal life until they can fulfill these things, at least some of them on each level. So it just ends up being that most people on the planet are real far down on this pyramid right now. You know, definitely a lot of the world is still starving, doesn't have clean water. Much more of the world is not safe, and people know it, and they're constantly trying to manage their safety and the safety of their family and their friends. And beyond that, you have a lot of people that just don't have friends. They don't have a family. They don't understand intimacy, or they don't have that love belonging level. And then you've got some other people that don't have good self-esteem, and other people who haven't really spent the time on themselves to self-actualize. And then you've got a very small percentage of people, at least right now on the planet, who are at that top level, or who can function at that top level even sometimes. And those are the people that are able to really get outside themselves and think about the world in a constructive manner. Says, hey, you know, we got to fix this. You know, there's a lot of crazy stuff going on out there. And, you know, the people who are powerful in the world are, they have this whole pyramid covered. I mean, they've got lots of food, they've got security, they've got friends, they've got everything. And so they're constantly thinking on a worldview, and the people that are making these world decisions for the rest of us, because we're not, you know, we're not able to even process that or reach that level to argue with them, let alone, you know, compete with them or anything else. And they know that too. So I think over the last 100 or 200 years, maybe, they've kind of got a sense of this, and have also manipulated things in a way that causes this to happen for most people. That, you know, they try to keep us down on this pyramid as much as they can, as many people as they can, in many ways as they can. And that this pyramid, I think, represents not only how these problems are created, or how these problems are being fueled, but also, you know, why this problem exists. What is the problem? At the problem is, you know, self-actualization or self-transcendence, really, is the point of it. I mean, if only 1% of the world, you know, is able to think outside themselves, really, to a point where they're secure, they feel safe and secure, and confident enough about their own life and their own person at this moment, that they can really just go a little bit beyond that and say, oh, look at these, you know, starving people in Africa. Look at this war over here. Look at this digital ID that's coming in, and these weird control systems that exist, and you know, this the nuclear power and the safety behind that, or lack of it, you know, all these different things that were, you know, do affect us for sure, but that they are global in scale, or at least very large in scale. So I don't know, the idea is something I've looked at a lot, not just the pyramid, but why are things the way they are? What the hell is going on? How can we fix it, or how can we affect it? Or how can I personally try to be conscious at that level? And this is the pyramid. This is how I reference the situation by. So And oh, someone is at my door. I'll be right back. Sorry, I'm full of distractions.
And I just sent the spiral dynamics.
Mhm.
I don't know if you're familiar with that, Jorge.
Would you share about it? No, no.
If, could you be able to open what I just sent to the chat, to the
Yeah.
group chat? Okay. Nova, I just sent the spiral, a link about spiral dynamics. I don't know if you're familiar with that. If you scroll down.
No, I'm not.
Okay. Can you see this spiral? So this is actually, if you turn upside down the Maslow pyramid, you can see that the archaic consciousness is the lowest vibration. This is the survival mode. And you're not able to tap into the consciousness in the level of integral or past integral unless you are not grounded enough in the first level, right? So this is what you're talking about, actually, that those who are the decision makers and creating the rules for the masses, they are purposely keeping us in that level. So we are not able to elevate our consciousness and communicate with those who are already in that level.
Yeah, that seems to be very congruent with the pyramid thing. I'm not familiar with this, but I'm going to look into it more. Yeah, I mean the idea of it anyway, from what you just said and what I'm looking at, it's the same. Yeah, and for sure, I think that's the problem.
So this is why I established democratic schools. Actually, that was the reason. Because the whole educational system is just creating lives and obedient persons to serve the structure, the existing structure. And in the school, I was working with very clear tools, connecting with nature, connecting with your own center, connecting with your own needs. And at a very young age, if we are able to provide an environment to our children, we can be able to support their internal growth and groundedness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. This is bringing up some things to me because I have so he's talking to me about the levels of responsibility and the level of responsibilities that we take, and kind of like at the lowest level being the person that just gives the responsibility to a higher authority, to another authority. And this is nothing good or bad about this. It's just the level of responsibility where that person is at. Like somebody, for example, in a group dynamic, like we were just talking about earlier, and there is this person that decides to take responsibility, and there is this other group of people that decide to give responsibility to that person. Is like in a way, like they haven't had the initiation processes, they haven't had this like growing of these processes that allow them to grow their responsibility to be able to step into a group space and take the responsibility. And I think this is what's happening. If to me is very present in this team. It's like this to me has been a process of reclaiming my responsibility so that I can participate in these groups. Because I remember like 3, 4, 5 years ago when I first met Elijah, like I wasn't able to do that. Like I will just like give all of my authority to Elijah or to the presiding authority, perceived authority. Like I will just become completely adaptive. I will lose myself. I wouldn't have my voice. I will become like this like malleable guy, not have my clarity. And there's been like all of these different processes and initiations that I've gone through that allow me to see more of my voice and like connection with myself, or in connection with my feelings, in connection with my center. So like in terms like, yeah, there is these people at the top of the chain that are taking radical responsibility. They're saying like, I'm not just this being, like I have, my voice has power, and like what I say, I mean, like they can take responsibility for the whole world. They can say, I'm gonna take responsibility for all of planet Earth. All of planet Earth is mine, and everything that is in it is mine. And also for the whole universe, like the whole universe is mine, and everything in the universe is mine. And this can be both. It can be responsible and responsible. Like it can be like, I'm gonna make it mine so that I can use it and abuse it and exploit it. And also like I want, like, it's mine because I want to take care of it. I want to be a guardian of this space. So there is like those two, like shadow parts of it. And the other part that he was speaking to, so that was like in terms of the level of responsibility. And the other part is this going from this physicality in the pyramid that Nova was showing. We have this thing that is like phase one is like learning to take care of yourself. Like there is this like very basic phase one, and there is a phase two, and then probably a phase three. But the phase one is like learning how to take care of yourself, providing for yourself, like your food, your shelter, your being, the nurturing of your being. I think it was in that, I missed it, but it was in the pyramid of the physicality. And then yeah, like after you done like your phase one, then a new door opens up for you to like step into like something else, which is like using your feelings to navigate the world, or in this case it will be like, yeah, like you using those tools, like becoming like more than just yourself, and like taking responsibility for more things than just yourself, which will be like a phase two. And I can send you guys links about this. So links. Well, thank you.
Yeah, I just sent you the link to the diagram I was showing as well. Both the links are in the chat now.
You know, something I just want to add just something about the spiral dynamics is like, on one side is sort of like centering yourself on the individual or yourself. On the other side is focusing on the group. And so going up in levels of consciousness, you're going from the individual to the group, to the individual to the group, to the individual to the group. So sort of like, you know, from here to there, from here to there, from here to there, at different levels of probably, you know, responsibility and other things. But that always struck me as, when I first got that, as very important, as, you know, a progression of how humans sort of go from one level to the other. It isn't just like me and my own individual level going up in some manner. It's me, and then, well, me and everybody else. And then I may identify with me and everybody else, and then I identify with just me, and then I identify with me and everybody else, kind of thing. I just thought that was, you know, that's sort of very simple, but very relevant.
Yeah, I also, yeah, like I know about the specific video that, like, I watched Elijah's TikTok video that he made the other day that copies in part of the video that he sent me about the idea that AI is planning to, or they you know, people have planned to use AI in order to create a problem so that they can provide a solution that they have designed in the form of a digital ID that they wish to implement. You know, I've been very aware for a long time that, you know, people that have a lot of power have learned to create problems in order to cause a lot of other people to demand a solution, and then they can provide the solution that they've already engineered in the first place in order to, and then that's how they, it's one of the things they do, you know, as a mechanism in order to really prevent resistance to their plans, basically, is the fact. Anyway, yeah, I really don't think that, yeah, we can, or, okay, yeah, go ahead, sorry, I'm gonna stop there.
No. This is very important. I'm ready to go back, because you were about to say something.
Okay, I guess I was sharing with Elijah, or he was sharing with me, and I'm kind of confirming that I also agree, is that it can't be stopped. I don't think this point of humanity, this point in the way that so many people are below the pyramid or on the bottom of the spiral or whatever else, you know, we're not going to be able to, you know, us four or 4,000 or whatever we create, it's not going to be able to stop the problems, as I put it. And then so, yeah, I've already concluded that a while ago, and so my focus is on creating solutions. Being aware of the problems is super helpful, and being able to kind of accept them, I think, is important at this point, because it's you know, why ignore them, why pretend they don't exist? But once you accept that they're here and that we can't stop them, even no matter how many people we tell about the problems, it's not going to prevent them. If we can get past that kind of point, then you can begin to find another place inside yourself in which to talk about these problems with other people who may or may not be aware of them, who may or may not be investigating them even. But at some level, you know, if me and Elijah know people that have gone to the WBF meeting this year, for example, and who are voluntary participants in these plans. We personally know some of them now, and they're regular people. I have to say, they're pretty regular people.
Sorry, what is that? Will you?
Like we have, you know, we know people that are, you know, rubbing shoulders with the people that are creating these plans, basically.
Yeah.
I've met some of them mostly online, but these are normal people, is what I have to report. And they're not trying to take over the world. But at the same time, I would say that most of the people involved in these circles are completely oblivious to what's really going on, as far as the real purposes of these things. They're there to network, make friends, and to get their businesses more popular, to, you know, get famous, all these other, you know, purposes. Where am I going with this? I guess what I'm saying is that, yeah, you know, if we want to really be successful in our own lives to any large degree, or with something like what Elijah here has developed, if we can make this a successful thing that's, you know, millions of people use, and it's a business, it's a network, it's perhaps a, you know, a way forward for humanity, it's something that exists for good and can continue to get more influential in its good influence, then in order for all of that to really happen, you know, we have to be able to approach these topics in a way that's not going to cause problems for it, really. And I think at some level, you know, there's a way to like transmute some of these problems, not stop them, but transform them or transmute them in ways. And I'm quite interested and curious about that these days, and how that can happen. And I think it can. I think it automatically does. It's just there's not enough people, and like there's so many people in the world right now waking up, and so many of them are talking about the problems, hating the problems, talking to people about the problems, spreading news about the problems. And that's mainly that. I'd say 99% of the people who are awake, that's what they're doing. So, and that has, I really have to say that has no effect on anything. All it does is it does occasionally wake more people up, occasionally. I'd say 1% of the time. So that's awesome. But, you know, the rest of the time, it's just It's not really useful a way of using energy. I think if we focus on creating solutions and represent ourselves or the planetary guardians or any of these things as that, and not put it against other things, and try to create its image as some sort of savior or some sort of solution to these problems over here, or anything like that, yeah, stand a better chance of succeeding. I think if we just create it as its own thing, put it out there, get it going, and don't attach it to the problems. If we attach it to the problems, whether in a solutionary way or not, we're attaching ourselves to the problems, that they will come and get us.
Yeah.
And they will because they'll see us as some sort of threat to them, right?
Yeah.
And we can't compete with them, really.
Yeah.
I
They
don't
have
think
a huge.
it makes sense. We can't compete with them, but I'm saying perhaps we can cooperate with them. And I think that's a very novel idea at this point,
And bring
that's
value.
what we're not doing.
Sorry, and bring value. Add value, add some sort of value which might not in their eyesight.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and if we can accept, okay, AI is getting really powerful, maybe digital IDs coming in soon, this is, all these things are happening here. Okay, well, let's keep doing what we're doing and kind of go around that over here. And yeah, got to navigate these waters, because we can steer the boat, but we can't change the ocean, is what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. I feel this whole process as being in a dojo.
Yeah, practice for you.
And having an opponent who might use something out of the frame, what we agreed upon earlier, but it's happening, it's present, it's attacking me in a very new level. So I need to be able to flexible enough and present enough to be able to respond and go with it and use that. And I'm not going against, it's like doing Tai Chi, practicing martial arts. I'm just trying to become the water. I'm not going against, I'm using the energy of my opponent.
Yeah, what you share, what you guys are sharing is pretty huge, and like it's about like the use of energy, like how do we use our energy. And we practice this distinction that we can't change a system by fighting against it. You can like create your own system, you create your own game, that is like, it's not about that, it's not about going against this system, but it's about just creating the space that you want to create, creating the world where you want to live. And there is like space for both, and there is that space for both. And maybe eventually one day, when this space that we're creating becomes so awesome and like really so extraordinary, that it makes the other spaces what do you call, deprecated, like it's not irrelevant, it makes them irrelevant.
And I just want to be able to stay in the space of wonder and gratitude and joy, because that's where I want to live, no matter what's happening around me. And if I keep that, you know, I'm not talking about empty spiritual bullshit. I'm having breakdowns, I'm having my own dark moments and minutes and hours and days and phases, but I'm willing to honestly surrender and deep dive into those spaces and keep up breathing and waking up every morning and facing with the deepest questions whenever it appears. Yeah.
I just want to say that we are at an hour, like being a timekeeper, taking responsibility for timekeeping. I don't know if we set up these meetings to be 1 hour. I just want to say that we're about the hour mark, and it's awesome because there is so much that's coming alive from this topic that we're just touching in. And to me, it's like in relevance to Elijah and like the game of the planetary guardians is it's about like where do we put our energy, like how do we like we're kind of like creating the context in this space about like how does it go, how it could go, and like what are the distinctions that are in this space that are valuable, that can like help us like work in a permacultural way, or work in a way that we are using the resources in the best way possible, and where we are actually enjoying ourselves, or actually we're doing our purpose, we're in our purpose. So I wanna offer, if this is if this brings up like emotional doorways for anybody, or like big feelings for somebody that you want to like be heard, or you notice that there is this big thing that's happening inside you of a big feeling, to bring it into the space and ask for a space, ask me for a space, or ask Elijah for a space, because this is like gold. It's like really big gold.
I just wanted to sort of go with what you said in terms of just the timing, to find out how much time everyone has left.
Mhm.
How is it, because we
We've
started
got somewhere between 40 and 60 years, but I might have 940 still.
how are people okay with another half hour or another 15 minutes, or how's everybody do?
I'm good for another 20 minutes.
Is that good? Is that good for everybody?
Yeah, myself.
I'm okay with it. I just need to quickly visit a place that I'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Is that
Okay.
okay?
course.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think to speak to your point, Jorge, I think we are doing what we need to be doing, and this is how we need to be spending our energy. I think we're on track for sure. And I mean, all of this conversation and this, what we've been talking about, I think just helps to reinforce the idea that we're in harmony with each other, and that the more we can get on track with the plan of what we're doing and why we're doing it and how we should do it and all this kind of stuff, that's I think where we need to go for now. And at some point we'll bring a fifth person in, and we'll keep going on building that wheel, because I think that's needs to be kind of a primary mechanism to start this whole thing. But until we get our wheel filled, I think we just the main priority should be just to keep ourselves in harmony, to check in with each other about different ideas, about our viewpoints of what we're even trying to do as a group, and make sure that we understand each other in lots of different ways and lots of different subjects, so that we know that we're on the same track with each other, and then this will just help build a stronger group.
Can I
Yeah,
tell a little bit of a story? Quite a number of years ago, a group of people got together called Tree Youth, and it was filled with some very, very intelligent, caring, very good with technology. It was a great team. It was, I think, at least 10 people. And if I remember correctly, the main purpose was to assist originators with bringing their work into the world. And I bring this up because it was kind of like, as an originator, I feel like there's a uniqueness to originators, because they usually have a life work. They have a huge body of work that they can't bring to the world by themselves, but they're generally a little bit odd from normal people, because they spend so much time in a certain direction, and they may lack the people skills, or they're just lacking because they've got so much they're trying to bring into the world. And I just started reminiscing about it, because what I found odd at that time was, in the room I was the only originator, and they never asked me what I needed, or they never, like, a couple times I tried to put forth kind of like, hey guys, I'm an originator and this is sort of where I'd like to go or what I might need, and I sort of got shot down. And it was just one of those ironic moments of sort of, because there's the I may not know what I need to bring this into the world. And because it's really a team-based thing, I don't know what I need, because it isn't me. It is a team that has to bring it into the world. And I haven't, found a team that I could do that with. And so my trust level is a bit low. And I find that I have to go into a place of, let's say, surrender, or go to a place of just trust, because I can see myself get in the way. I can see myself with my own assumptions of what I think I need, or what I think this team should be, or what I think you should be. And if you're not doing it in a certain way, then then it's not going to go anywhere, kind of thing. And I would see this stuff in my own ruminations, especially over the last, let's say, week, as Jorge and I was sort of going into, let's say, a more darker place around what I've been through to get here. And then I found again that the trust again, whether spirit or the trust, just trust in the process, that it will work out, that I can actually trust you guys, that actually I or you, we don't have to really come, like it will appear, it will just happen if each of us is committed to the intention of actually doing so. And then, as I hear us speak, I gain more trust, because I'm going, I think you just need conscious, intentional humans getting together and creating a real synergistic space, and then magic comes out of that. And that all the tools and all the things that I'm kind of trying to do can't really compete with that. Because it's like I'm trying to force structure of music into a group, and the group just wants to play. And I'm going, but wait a second, I got this new structure of music. And it kills the vibe about how we could actually play together. So I just find that kind of interesting.
Cool. I feel joy to hear you sharing this, Elijah. Wow, I feel touched by like how close you are with that journey, and how you shared about this journey, and the way you describe these like conscious people, and I would like add like people that are in the honest path, like they're like honest, like being honest about what they want, and creating a synergistic space in that team, and that like magic comes out of there. That's exactly what I see is possible, or what I've been witnessing, how I've been like in very alive teams where that's the case, and it's very cool to arrive here in that space. And I'm
Like to
feeling like, yeah, just
Sorry, go
this one more
ahead.
just this one more thing, Hajnal, before, it's like you're talking about the structure, and how you were like forcing structure inside of a team, and you see how that can like block the growing of the team. And I would like propose that we use these spaces as a research, as a like an exploration. I see like what kind of magic can come out of here, and to keep that question open in the space about like how can these maps like really empower us to like, wow, like we really need this map right now. Let's bring it, and then see, like wait for that opportunity and that chance. And it's already kind of happening with the synergy wheel, which is not like in the center of our relating, but it's kind of like at least in how I'm holding space for this, is kind of like this thing on the side that, okay, we're relating here. I'm relating with Nova, with Elijah, with Hajnal, uh, and we are like I have this map here on the side where we like seeing how it goes, how it works. But like having that like relating piece like right in the center, that is how I am relating to this space and to you guys. And that to me creates synergy. And that's all I wanted to say, Hajnal. Bless you.
Thank you.
Were you going to say something, Hajnal?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I will share it in the group.
Um, hmm. I feel like I should say something, but I don't know what it is. And also, yeah, Elijah, I think it's I hear something in you that I haven't heard before. I can't really describe it, but it sounds like you're speaking from a different part of yourself. That's interesting.
Cool. That means that I think what I can sense in the space is that we enter into like a new territory that is like kind of like unexplored. Like, and I'm really like I don't know where we are. Like I don't know what is this new space. I want to hear more from this space where Elijah is speaking from, and I sense that it also like shifted the energy in the space, and that's pretty amazing. Like something is working, something is what just happened.
Well, one thing I can say, let's say, about how I create things is that, you know, a lot of times something will come through in the moment, or something comes as a result of whatever I've been through. And so a lot of the things I think I've created is a result of the field of the people I'm participating with. It's not just me getting some download, it's coming through. It's, oh, I went through this experience with these people, and as a result, this came in. And so there's more of a group ownership, or more of a, no matter how it comes out, there's a field that is bringing through something that I'm acting as a bit of a channel for. And I think we are all like that, but I've just focused so much, let's say, within maps or these tools, so that happens to be my method of expression. But it's again, I think it's for me to really relax into the belief that, one, this can actually happen, two, that I'm not going to go crazy, three, that it doesn't have to be super difficult. Because I find, like, in some moments I can get very overwhelmed by the amount of work that I have in front of me. And one of my biggest blocks has been, how do I keep up to the work I'm creating? Like, everything I creates more work. And it's just, I'm just going to be on this hamster wheel of trying to keep up with what's happening. And I find that it you know, it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't, I can still live a normal life, still have all these things I have to do, but I can still actually be still or relaxed in my whole demeanor, because it doesn't matter. Like usually it's the rush to get something out of you. You know, it's more the mind going crazy about what it perceives to be the problem, rather than just, no, I only have so many hours. I'm working on this one thing. I'll work on that, and when that's over, I'll you know, like there's no pressure in terms of time. And I think for each of us, it's like, when you really relax into your natural state, that is a very confident place, that you know you can handle anything that's in front of you, that changes everything. I think a lot of us have this, we're not in our natural state, and so we don't have the confidence. Confidence comes from knowing that you can deal with whatever it is that you've got to deal with. And I think it's almost like, if a team gets to pure silence together, that alone could change the world. And I think that that's like the spirit, when the spirit truly inhabits us, that's when the miracles happen. And that's when, like you're saying, no, we don't have to fight against this or this, you know, just create something beautiful. And don't do it as a response to trying to get rid of this, just as a result of, we got 4 beautiful people here, and we're all, you know, I think we're all on the edge of our own huge empowerment. And I think it's funny because Hajnal, when you were speaking about what you're going through, for some reason I thought that there were tears of joy in there because you felt empowered by, wow, here's someone who's really interested in bringing the she cares or the we care into the world. Here's somebody giving me support when maybe you haven't felt the support before. And that's what I thought was occurring. And then when you told me, it didn't quite go away. Because I think that we do get, if we haven't felt support, and then we actually start to feel real support, I think that, at least in myself, when it's happened, tears flow. You know, it's like you're struggling in the water and finally someone pulls a hand and that actually is grounded somewhere and starts to give you a hand and they're pulling you out. You're just in this, oh my God, you know, this is what real support feels like. And I think that we may never feel that type of support, right? And then maybe that's what a real mastermind team is knowing, wow, you know, there's other people that are listening to me, that are taking me serious, and they're, you know, sort of impressive people. And together we're an impressive team. And then it's like a good basketball team. When you know you've got a good team, the confidence of everyone increases a lot, because it's not just me. And I think for me, I've been alone so long, but I'm a natural team player. Like basketball was my sport, and I'm a natural team player deep down, but I just haven't, you know, nothing has been sort of in it's never worked for me. And I think that this, you know, this might be the beginning of it, you know.
I like the part that you said where it doesn't have to be difficult.
Yeah.
I like the part that you say about basketball. I really saw, yeah, I really saw you and us like playing basketball together sometime. Kind of like having this like, yeah, like space of playing basketball.
Well, it's fun.
There is this, just as we're getting closer to the end of this meeting, not the end of the world, but just at the end of this meeting. I want to share a video that is actually very awesome. Like it's just an interview and a conversation between 2 edge workers. And one of them works with permaculture and the other one is working with just like teamwork. These guys is working with teamwork. They're going into these teams where they stay silent. They just like come into presence with each other. They put their recorder in the middle and they wait. And he said in the recording that they even wait for like 6 hours in silence. Like, so it's like pretty crazy stuff. And the stuff that they're bringing in, like from these channels is pretty incredible. And they get to share some of it in there, and they actually get to talk from a very real perspective of like what's like failing in the village and in teamwork. And the other guys, like they talk a lot about 9/11 and like how it all like the awakening and like this like awakening from the government being an entity that cares about us, and to like seeing like fuck, they don't give a shit. So it's just like I really recommend that. It's like it sounds like very relevant to what we're talking about here, and I guess I'll just put it here. And yeah, no, I think that's it for me. There was something else I wanted to say, but that I'll see if it comes later.
So I guess good to see everybody.
There is one more thing. Just this thing that I want to share. I was today actually. I had to like end. I started 5 weeks ago going to a meeting. It's called Violence Anonymous. It's a space called Violence Anonymous, and I feel a bit scared of sharing that, but yeah, I started going into that place, and it's like a health space where there's somebody holding space, and you get to talk to others. It's pretty anonymous and confidential, and I guess like I'm bringing it because it kind of coincided with this space today. I was supposed to be in that space until 7, but I had to cut it off earlier to come into this meeting. And in that meeting, they talk about there is at the core of it, there is the drama triangle. They call it the drama triangle. I don't know if you guys have heard of this, but in that triangle, we also work with it in possibility management. But in that triangle is the victim role, the rescuer role, and the persecutor role, and you get to work from all of those angles, and it's pretty core to the pattern of violence, and the pattern of violence that is like a very basic map of that is like a game that is being played in humanity. And the thing with this is that it's like a waste of energy, like it's a way of misusing energy. I mean, what I mean to say with that is that when we are using our energy in one of those roles, being one of those roles is like it's like an adolescent way of using energy. It's like we haven't been initiated into a way of using energy. So I don't know, maybe I can talk about this a little bit more in another time, in another meeting, if you guys like to go about it. But it's pretty awesome to discover this thing, and it's a whole journey. I'm in the middle of it, and I just wanted to share that piece because it is very alive in my life right now, how I'm being violent towards myself, and also it happens like in my group spaces, in my relationships, with my children, with my parents, with friends, and it's something that I'm working through and like really bringing in like more awareness of my underworld.
Jorge, I just sent a link. Is this connected to Clinton Callahan's work, the possibility management?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have you heard of it?
Yeah. Yes.
Cool. Yeah. We work with in Violence Anonymous, they call it drama triangle, but in possibility management, they call it low drama triangle, implying that there is a high drama triangle, which there is a high drama triangle. And high drama is like awesome. I can talk more about it another time. Thank you.
Who has to leave? If you must leave, put up your hand.
I'm kind of getting cold. Yeah, I'm gonna take care of my body, and I need to get some water from the store before it closes.
Okay, I wasn't totally sure. Okay. There.
Okay, so
Well, I guess me.
This is it.
Take care.
No, Noah, when you were gone, we talked about assigning a space holder for the next meeting. So like having somebody that wants to hold space for the meeting. So maybe we can talk about it in the chat, or does anybody want to hold space for the next meeting? They want to volunteer now.
I was thinking Hajnal might want to do that because she hasn't sort of had the chance yet.
Okay, I'm happy to step
Yay.
in. Oh.
Yay.
Maybe you can write me in the chat what that means, just so I know. In this context, okay. I mean, cool.
I think it's like the group facilitator for each time we get together, either space holder / facilitator, just somebody holding that place that sort of directs the movement of the group, I think.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming to the end. This is the end.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Cool.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.